Hi, I'm Becky from Icing on Top Becky's Cakes, and today we're going to make this super fun sculpted guitar cake, and it's going to be decorated in all buttercream. I need a 6-inch and a 5-inch round, and you're just going to cut off just a little bit off the top here, and then use that piece to measure where to cut on the smaller one. Together, and that'll make the top half, and then we cut a section for the long stick part of the guitar, and then a little bit for the end of the guitar. Now the end of the guitar is just a little wider and has a little bit of a V shape on both sides, so kind of like a little V on the end. So I realized this one was a little too long, so that's why I haven't stuck anything down with buttercream yet, so I can adjust things. There, now it's about the right size. Now I can glue it to my board with buttercream, and then of course I put a little bit of buttercream in between each layer, and that just holds it all together there. Now around the outer sides, I'm actually going to use a large quick icer tip, which is a really long flat tip that if you've seen me ice cakes before, I often use this because it makes it really easy to get icing on quickly. And I measured the height of my cakes with my quick icer because I wanted the quick icer just to be a little taller than my cake itself, because then it makes it really easy to just do the knockdown, which is the top. You just kind of pull it in. So I'm actually using flexible plastic cake scrapers instead of my metal one this time, because it works better on a cake that has all these curves and everything, so that worked a lot better. I'm also going to use it on the top with my gold buttercream. Now I used Maricolor's gold, if you're wondering what shade this is. Use it to direct and concentrate on that outer edge mainly. I want that outer edge to be as straight as possible, but the rest I'm going to smooth in with my offset spatula here. Then I'm going to kind of, skim some off the top and scrape that off into my bowl to make it nice and smooth up here. Now I usually like something to mark off before I add details of buttercream, so I'm going to use a mousse ring to mark off where I'm going to make the black circle in the middle, and carefully placed it before I press it in. If you don't have mousse rings, if you have a cup or a bowl or something just about the right size, I just use whatever's available. And then I'm going to use a larger size, and I'll press that down for the outer ring there. And then with black buttercream and a large round writing tip, I am just going to pipe in some black buttercream all the way around. And just a quick tip for that, if you use chocolate buttercream and you add your Americolor Super Black to that, you don't have to add as much gel coloring because it's already pretty dark. Right now I'm going to paint on with my gold. It's the gel Americolor, but I thinned it out by using the airbrush gold Americolor. So they're both Americolor, both gold, one is airbrush. And that makes it thin enough that I can paint with. I'm using a larger paintbrush here, and I'm just giving very light strokes as I go. Because it's buttercream, you don't want it to come off on your paintbrush. But this is a crusting buttercream, which really comes in handy. So if you're light enough, it will not come off on your paintbrush. So just give it really light hand, and then just make all this detail that makes it really give that wooden effect, and I really enjoyed doing this part. After piping with the quick icer tip, I'm just going to smooth that out very gently with my offset spatula and make that smooth all the way to the end. Then we're just going to add some more details with our black buttercream, and then smooth that out too. And next comes the fun part. I knew that I wanted to add some of the knobs and stuff in the back that you use for tuning the guitar, and I wanted to give it some height. So first I marked it off with, this is just my Wilton cake marker. You can also use toothpicks and a ruler. but I wanted to use these sugar rods. They're from Sweet Apolita. These are just matte green sugar rods. Wrong color, right? But right now we're just using them to add some height to our knobs. And I'll show you how we're gonna do that here. But anyway, these sugar rods, they actually taste really good. I definitely had to test them out ahead of time. But they're fun sprinkles, and we're gonna use them in a much different way today. So after we put them all in place, both the knobs on the sides and the top here, I'm going to get some gray buttercream, and I'm going to make sure that my writing tip is large enough to fit to thread right over these. And after we thread it right over, making sure that the rod is in the middle, just going to pipe a little bit of pressure on our bag and pull out. And what that rod's going to do is just going to hold that buttercream in place for us, and it's giving us some height to our buttercream. You can just pipe on the side if you wanted to, but I really wanted the height that these little sugar rods added for it. So we had fun with this one. I mean, you might have seen this threading technique at a much larger scale when I did the Rapunzel Tower, and I threaded the whole skewer and then piped all the way up that whole skewer. But of course the skewer isn't edible. This is kind of cool because these little rods are edible too. So it's a lot of fun. I like to try different concepts, and since it's crusting buttercream, all you have to do is wait a couple minutes and then tap down on these little pointy parts that always end up sticking up with buttercream when you pull up, and it's just an easy way just to knock down those little points. And if you need the buttercream recipe, it's on my channel. It's the mock vanilla buttercream. I'm going to continue adding some more detail here on the guitar. This is also in black buttercream, then my gray buttercream again. And now I'm using a smaller writing tip than the one I used to thread the sugar rods, and this is for the strings. As you can see, I've kind of marked off with a toothpick where I want my strings to go. And so you're just gonna pipe along and wrap it around one of those. And then if you have any breaks, then you can come back and clean up with that, and then with a toothpick. And that's the way that we get all the strings on the guitar. And I had a lot of fun making this guitar today. Thank you so much for joining me, and please subscribe to my channel.